I used to care a lot about what people thought of me. I just don't give a shit now, basically. I started the podcast in a really weird place of my life. Like, I was partially depressed, but partially living my best life. I'm going through a period now where I think the most brokest I've ever been in my life. Having a podcast is basically like having another full-time job. Like, every single weekend, I'm either making content every day, every night. I'm essentially doing this thing. Everyone that has come on the podcast, they don't care what people think. They're just going after it with their whole heart. I emailed my they're like, who do you think you are? And I was like, I don't care. Like, what's the worst that someone can say no? For me, it's not just a podcast. Like, it's a community, it's a reason. Like, I really do want you to feel inspired from it. But now I'm really trusting my gut and my vision that this is what I'm going to go for and this is what I'm going to go after. Girls Like Me is just getting started in the grand scheme of things. Hi girls, welcome back to another episode of Girls Like Me. Today we have a really cute episode and I'm kind of glad that we are here, number one, and number two, actually doing this episode. So this month marks 2 years of Girls Like Me and I'm really, really excited that it is our second birthday, and I feel like it has been such a journey to be on this podcast journey. Like 2 years ago, I didn't even think that I would have a podcast, never mind like a whole community of women that like listen in and tune in every month. So I just wanted to do this solo episode because it's been such a long time since I've actually like sat down with you guys and had that intimate time and done a solo episode, because I feel like it's just been guess. And I feel like when I first started, I was mainly in a position where I couldn't even get guests, like finding guests and struggling to even get people on the podcast, versus now where I've got like a long list of people. I think there's like 44 people on the list at the moment of guests who want to come on the podcast, including me. So it's like a completely different journey that I've been on. And I also feel like my confidence and who I've turned into has completely changed as well through the process of this podcast. And it's been really, really nice to see. So yeah, stay tuned. And this is 2 years of Girls Like Me. So first of all, we're going to start off with where I was at the beginning. So I'm actually in Leicester Podcast Studio where I first started. So Chase is here as well. And I first approached Chase when I knew that I wanted to start the podcast, just to kind of see like what's what and actually find the confidence to do it. And I still remember actually doing my first podcast episode. I don't know if you guys have watched the very first episode. I feel like I've changed it, but originally I actually put the wrong episode out to begin with. It was a video, I don't know if you remember as well, it was a video of me saying like, I've got sweaty hands, I've got sweaty upper lip and all of this. And basically when Chase sent it me, I must have had that many like different edits on it. I uploaded the wrong one basically. And yeah, that was one thing. And I think I cried about that first putting it out, to verse now when I'm just like, okay, this is it. This is whatever it is. But yeah, I think when I first started, it was just kind of, I didn't know what Girls Like Me was. And I feel like I knew I had the vision in my head, but I didn't essentially have that core community of what I wanted to do. And I feel like 2 years on, I'm really clear on what Girls Like Me is and what Girls Like Me stands for. And I'm really, really happy to be in this space and be building it with Girls Like Me, because when I first started, I didn't know also who I was in the process of that. I feel like I was still learning, I was still understanding, and I feel like I started the podcast in a really weird place of my life. Like, I was partially depressed, but partially living my best life. So it was really, really hard. And I feel like now I'm a lot more comfortable and grounded with where I'm at. And I feel like when I started this podcast, it was kind of like, I needed to force myself. I needed to force myself to get up, to be confident, to start. And now I'm here, it's kind of like, the thing that I'm struggling with is the consistency of it all and kind of building. So it's a completely different journey. But I think for those of you that have been watching me from the very start, you will see like my confidence improve, the way that I will kind of interview people. I know that like recently I've also started doing introductions in the podcast as well. That's like a whole new thing. So yeah, I just feel like I've really, really come a long way from when I first started. Next, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what it's been like behind the mic of actually building a podcast brand, because I know that you guys tune in and you see everything, but there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and I feel like there is a lot that I've had to do behind the scenes. So 2 years on, I feel like when I first started, I wasn't very consistent. I was posting episodes here, there, everywhere, but now we do upload currently every 2 weeks. And that's been consistent since last year, which I'm really, really happy with. But behind that, it has been so fucking hard to like keep consistency and do everything. I've got into a routine at the minute where I'll wake up at like 6 a.m. to go to work early, use the like office, use the internet, and just have that quiet space to go do content. I'll stay afterwards. Like, I've planned podcasts like a month in advance and whatever else. And I feel like when I first started, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, let's go do this or let's this. So the planning and the structure that goes in behind it has been so hard. Also financially as well. All of you lot keep on saying, let's increase episodes, let's increase episodes, let's increase episode. I worked out, I think the other day when I was saying to like my family that I must have spent probably about 8 grand on everything so far. 8, I even want to say more than that, including like outfits and stuff. And I feel like based off of the community and the following for that, I was looking at it like, oh my God, shit, like I've not even got 1,000 followers yet. But the quality of the guests and the quality of like the content that I'm building, I'm really, really happy with it. And I feel like behind the scenes, you guys don't know what it costs to get into it. And I feel like there is a lot that goes into it, like time, effort, everything. I think having a podcast is basically like having another full-time job. Like every single weekend, I'm either making content, and now I've started to try and do like more YouTube vlogs and build up my YouTube. It's literally like every day, every night, I'm essentially doing this thing. And I feel like of me doing that and also me on the journey with the guests, that's probably the number one lesson that consistently has come across from all the guests, is that they have literally put their heart and soul into it. Everything that they have done out of hours. Like I could name so many people on that have come on. So you've got Lizzie, you've got Zoe, you've got Ella, you've got Kaifa, you've got loads of different guests that have been on where they will finish their job and whatever they're building, they've had to do after work, before work, on weekends. So I feel like the girls like me just get it, like, you know what I'm doing behind the scenes. And I think being able to be really honest about that with you guys, like I remember when I first started, I was doing episodes, if I was in a really shit place or like financially, I've spoke about like ups and downs, making money. And to be honest with you guys, I feel like I'm going through a period now where I don't like using the word broke, but essentially it's like the most poorest or brokest I've ever been in my life. But for some reason, I feel like I'm just going to come, like this next year is just going to transform for me. And I feel like it's because I've laid my foundations right. But behind the scenes, I'm like putting everything that I can into it. And I feel like it all really will pay off. But I'm also at the stage of like, this is where most people give up. And I think that's also what I've come to as well, because it's like, when you are at the point of paying for stuff and building or whatever else, you sometimes sit there and you think, what is actually the point of this? Or why do I keep doing this? Or what is the benefit in doing this? And it's just literally building that self-belief of like, you've got to continue, you've got to keep building whatever it is that you are doing. And I feel like through starting Girls Like Me, I never really felt understood or found my people, but that element of it where you have to become obsessed with something, you have to really love what you do, you have to kind of like focus and tune in. The Girls Like Me just understand, and I really hope that you guys have got that across from it, of just knowing that on the journey. Next, I just wanted to speak to you guys a little bit about a few of the key lessons that I feel like I've learned along the journey of Girls Like Me from the guests. And what's really nice about Girls Like Me, I think, is there's not been one specific niche. So I'm not always interviewing one type of person, one type of characteristic. They're always doing different things in different industries. And I feel like I have been able to learn so much from everyone that I've had on. We've had like people that have reached a following in so long. We've had people that have made like millions of pounds worth of their business. Like, it has just varied and it's crazy. But I feel like number one thing that I have learned from everyone is definitely consistency is going to beat motivation. Like, number one thing that I have learned, you have to be consistent. You have to put in and day out what you're going to do, and you're never going to feel motivated. Whereas at the start, when I first started the podcast, I was like, oh, I need the motivation. Maybe I'm just lacking motivation. This is going to give me motivation. And then now I've kind of gone through it. It's like consistency. I'd probably say that's number one for me. Number two, I feel like something that I'm only getting to grips with now is getting over the fear of being seen. Because when I first started, it's kind of like how I was having a podcast and put myself out there, but at the same time, I didn't really want people to see me. I've never been the girl that, wanted to be an influencer or take loads of social media pics and stuff. And I feel like every single girl that I've had on the podcast, they are so big on, you've got to essentially put yourself out there, you've got to build your personal brand, you've got to really get on your branding. So I think that is something that I have really learned, is getting over the fear of being seen. And I'm really trying to implement this year. God willingly, I can buy a nice camera soon so I can be posting some body pictures on Instagram. But until then, I feel like just building up my TikTok, building up my YouTube, and also the fear of being seen in networking events. Like when I used to go to events and stuff, I would kind of just like get a feel for the room, get to understand who's in the room, ask a few questions. But now I feel like as my confidence has grown, it's like if I want to have a conversation with you, if I want to speak to you about something, I'm going to go and have a conversation with you. Like by the time the end of it, you're going to know who I am, which I think is really nice. And I think that's been a really key thing of like everyone that has come on the podcast or is building something that's incredible, they don't care what people think. Like they actually don't care what people think. They don't care what it looks like. They don't care if it's perfect or not. They are just going after it with their whole heart and they're putting themselves out there. Third lesson I think is really important from the girls is definitely building that community element. I think is really big. So at the start of it, I think building a community is really hard. It is really hard. And I feel like being able to connect with people, you're only able to do that when you're vulnerable. And I feel like before I was never someone that wanted to be vulnerable on camera. Obviously, you guys know throughout my journey, there's been parts of myself that I've shared about my own journey, my own mental health, my own business, where I'm at financially, that kind of thing. And I feel like that element of community is what takes someone from building, a business or a side hustle to building a long-standing brand. And I feel like if you are in something for the long run, you are going to have to build that community with you. And I think the number one part of that is if you are scared to obviously share parts of yourself. Obviously, I'm not saying you've got to put everything out there. You get to pick and choose what you want to do. But at some point, it's like, what are people buying into and what are people essentially, why are they going to come and look at you? And I think I sat down and thought about that when it comes to girls like me. I was like, okay, I'm on this podcast, I'm speaking, but what is it actually about girls like me that people would want to come and sit in and tune in? Like, what is a girl like me? I got out a piece of paper, I was writing it all, like, what do I define as a girl like me? Like, why did I start the podcast? What makes me a girl like me? That kind of thing. And I feel like now that I've tuned in on that and I'm only putting girls on the podcast who essentially are within that brand, within that community of girls like me, going after their dream life, their ambitions, and being really unapologetic about it, I feel like that's when I've been able to build the community. And that's when you guys have messaged me like, oh my God, I really related to this. I really enjoyed that episode. Like, that's so good. That's an inspiring story, that kind of thing. So I feel like without that community element of it, of what are you doing it for, who is it for, what are they essentially going to get? Because I'm someone as well, like whatever you do, you need to provide value. So it's always in the back of my mind of like, how can I give the girls more value? Like throughout the 2 years, we've done different things of like giving you guys discount codes, even when it came to the start of the year, January reset, all of that kind of thing. I didn't just do a podcast and speak about it. It's like, let's give you a free worksheet, let's give you a discount code, let's do all of those things that are going to help build that community. So I'll definitely say that they are the 3 key lessons that I've learned from the girls over the past 2 years of girls like me. Next thing, girls, that I wanted to speak to you about is the growth, like the personal growth. So a little bit about me and bringing the podcast to life, essentially, of who I've had to become behind the scenes. And I feel like this has been kind of a tough one. I feel like last year was really hard for me. And I don't think I shared parts of it because I didn't really have a solo episode and we always had guests on, so I don't feel like there was really space for it. But I feel like last year was hard because I kind of felt like I went through a period of my life where I know what's right and I know what's wrong. And sometimes it's like I have this guilty complex about like leaving people behind or, being really cutthroat and strict. I feel like it's because I'm quite emotional as a person. But I feel like over the past year, that growth within me to build that self-confidence has had to come from actually saying goodbye to people, saying goodbye to habits, saying goodbye to situations, that kind of thing. And I feel like when you are on a podcast or when you are trying to build yourself publicly, there's always people that are going to have like their say or their contradictions or think that they can say this doesn't belong on social media, this does belong on social media, and then they'll start to say exactly what it is. And I feel like building yourself up online is really hard because essentially I'm growing as a person too, so I'm never going to get everything right all the time. But I feel like when it comes to growth and confidence and putting yourself out there, I would say that I really started to tune in more on actually believing in what I'm saying and believing the purpose of it. And I think when you are listening to, especially friends and family, like where people saying, oh, this shouldn't be said, or this is bad, or whatever else, you need to be confident within yourself. And I feel like that's something that I've really had to develop over the past year, of just knowing what it is that I'm doing and also knowing why I'm doing it. I think when I first started, it was like, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't essentially have the confidence and stuff to build it. And I feel like now I've become more tuned in on, actually, no, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it and this is what I'm focused on. I feel like I've grown as a person. And also, when you are able to cut people off and cut people's opinions off, I feel like it instantly makes you feel a little bit better, like you feel free. And I feel like because I've felt free, I've not been constructed to people's molds of what they think you should be and what they think that you need to be, rather than actually following my own path and creating my own voice. And I feel like that growth is really, really hard because there's an element of discomfort in it. Like there's been parts, I'd probably say months last year or over the past 2 years of Girls Like Me, where I felt really like discomfort in certain situations or putting myself up for certain situations, or like friendships, family, that kind of thing. But I feel like within it, you've got to always understand that why. Like I keep on going back to that why, and I feel like that is what it's really about. And sometimes I think I forgot that, and sometimes I would let other people's voices kind of dictate what I would do or how I would do it. And I feel like I've become so cutthroat. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I've become really cutthroat and strict, and like I don't know if boundaries is the word. That's what I'm trying to work on. But sometimes I would come on camera, I feel like at the start of Girls Like Me, and be like, I need to set boundaries, I need to this. And I feel like when you start implementing those things, like it comes to a point in life where you're like, these people, I don't know what that saying is or that quote, but it's like sometimes you need to say no to things because these people are never going to let me feel like this again. And I feel like once you reach that level of like, I don't care, or growth, or that kind of stuff, you begin to kind of like own who you are as well. And I feel like that's what I've started to do. Like parts of myself are like, oh, I didn't want to work too much, or I didn't want to this, or you don't want to come across as this, or I think I used to care a lot about what people thought of me. Even though I didn't, I was kind of confident, but at the same time, I feel like you do automatically care what people think. And I feel like once I've got over that, I just don't give a shit now, basically. I think that's what's happened over the two years of Girls Like Me. I've just not really given a shit what people have had to say, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's what. And I feel like, I feel like you, Chase, as well. Like we had a conversation at a point where I was like, I can't be asked to do this. Like this is what people are saying. Like I can't be bothered. And I feel like you said to me, you've got to decide whether you want this or not. And if you are going to decide, it's better that this happens now than happens at a later stage when money gets involved or this happens or whatever else. And I feel like I genuinely needed to see certain people, certain situations in like an adult light to know and find my feet within that. And I feel like now that I've kind of gone through that, it's been like, it's just been so nice and just so like warming and lovely. Like I'm just so happy with this place that I'm in at the moment. And I just feel as if everything is kind of aligned. Whereas with the podcast and with my own life, it wasn't kind of aligned. And I feel like for the first time, work, goals, everything that I have gone after or said that I wanted is happening. And it's kind of scary because I'm thinking, what the hell is going on right now? But at the same time, it's like, this is what I prayed for. So I actually really need to be grateful in that. Oh, my throat is so dry, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I think within that there's a lot of like uncomfortable truths, because I feel like with podcasts, everyone always comes on and it's like, here's these self-help tips, here's these confidence tips, and it's like none of that stuff is actually helping. So when you get to that point, you're just like, I don't like that fluff. Like I've never been that person, and I didn't create Girls Like Me to actually be a lovely podcast, a happy podcast. Like I created Girls Like Me for the girls like me who just want that real, authentic bold kind of like, this is what we're going through, this is how we're going to keep it moving. And I feel like that is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to stop speaking to certain members of your family. It's uncomfortable to let friends go. It's uncomfortable to get rid of a job or get rid of a career. Like when I first started this podcast, I had different dreams and different hopes, and I was living a completely different life to what I am now. But I'm a lot happier because of that discomfort, because of the not knowing, and because of, I think, my attitude as a person is just like, fuck it, I'm going to give it a go. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just give it a go. And I feel like it's always worked out for me. And in that process, I've also started to trust my gut a little bit more. Whereas before I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't be doing this, I should be doing this. And I'm asking for everyone's opinion. Whereas now it's like, if I feel that gut feeling, I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing this, or nah, this is what I need to do, or this is how I'm going to do it. And I feel like with that growth as well, my mind is like, if I see something and I see a vision, or I truly see it, it's like people will start to say, oh, I shouldn't do this, or maybe you should do this, or maybe this. And it's like, if I've seen this now, I'm really trusting my gut and my vision that this is what I'm going to go for, and this is what I'm going to go after. So when it comes to girls like me and building that, I was like, I want to release merch, I want to have a Girls Like Me second birthday, I want to do this. And everyone's like, oh, do you really need to do that? Do you need to do this? Do you need to do that? And I feel like if I've had the vision of bringing something to life, or really getting that community, or, you know, people start merch when they've got XY followers or whatever else, but I was like, I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. And I feel like that trust in yourself and your gut and all of that is very uncomfortable, but at the same time I feel like it's paying off, or hopefully it does pay off. We'll see. Stay tuned. Girls, so this little next section of it is kind of like the unknowing, but I wanted to be very truthful and honest about where I'm at with the podcast. So the vision for the podcast, obviously I would love to have 4 episodes a week. Well, not 4 episodes a week, 4 episodes a month, once per week at the minute. But right now, I'm gonna be completely honest, there's just not a budget for it. Like, there's actually not a budget for it. And that's why I really appreciate all of you that do tune in, that do subscribe, that do comment, that do kind of like give me feedback. Like, I really do enjoy that. And I feel like that's where we want to go. And also I feel like going up and down the country, like you guys know, as of this year I've started to go to London for podcasts. I'm also going to start to go to Manchester for podcasts, but it's really building in on that. One thing I am a little bit scared of at the minute is like sponsorship. I feel like that for me is kind of a bit scary at the minute. It's like a grey area where people are like, go for it, not go for it. And I really feel like from the Apple event that I went to, I did get a lot of insight from it. And like, I heard so many people that have been in podcasts for years, and I was like, actually we didn't blow, or we didn't go anywhere until like 7 or 8 years, or this is what it took. And I feel like I didn't feel ready for it, or I don't know if I do feel ready for that, but I think it's something where I'm going to put myself out there. So I have made my list of like emails of people that I'm going to outreach and send, and what I want to do with that. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, if everything works out, or early next year, maybe by Girls Like Me 3rd birthday, we will be able to introduce another episode. That would be really, really nice. And I think in terms of growth, I just want to really tune in on that Girls Like Me community and start putting myself out there more. Because one thing when it came to the expansion of it, which I realised probably last year, but I'm only starting to do, is like, I wasn't showing what a girl like me is. I've got this podcast, I'm speaking about my vision and brand, but I wasn't actually doing that myself. So that is part of it, actually putting myself out there. And also, like, I've had people approach me for certain opportunities as well, which I'm like, maybe I should take, maybe I shouldn't take. But I think this year I'm just going to put myself forward for everything, to definitely like tune in on that and actually show you guys the behind the scenes. Because I feel like when I tell people certain things about my life, or like work, or how busy I am and stuff, they're like, oh, you know, whatever else. But unless you're actually showing people what you're doing, they're never going to know. So it's also that, what I mentioned before, that getting rid of that fear of being seen. In terms of growth and expansion, I would just absolutely love to really build on that community and get some really nice guests on. Like, I would like you guys to have a bit more of an input as well, to kind of say like what you would like to do, or what you would like to hear from. Because there is a long list of girls at the minute, and sometimes it does get to me, because when people message me, like I said, that there's 40 plus people that want to come on the podcast, when people message me, I literally sometimes I'm like scratching my head thinking, this is a banging story, like you definitely deserve to come on a podcast, but have I got the money to put you on the podcast right now? Probably not. And that's like, I'm very transparent with everyone that gets in touch with me, and I always get back to everyone that gets in touch with me as well, because I feel like if I was on the other hand and I really wanted to go on someone's podcast and I didn't have a big following or had a great story or whatever else, I would probably still email and still get in contact. So it's like, I really rate every single girl that does get in touch with me that wants to come on the podcast for that. I think it's just figuring out where, time, the structuring and stuff like that. Like, I'm just praying that everything does work out over the next few weeks. But I'm thinking about also maybe implementing like weekly little series of the girls that do want to come on now, so you can just see a little bit about them, like maybe a day in the life vlog of what makes them a girl like me, that kind of thing. I'm hoping to incorporate, because when I have been doing those vlogs, you guys have really been like loving it, and I really like when people message me about they've watched a YouTube video. And also recently I've had a few more people send me messages to say, oh, I watched this YouTube video and that was really cool. And it's like people that I didn't even expect to watch it or listen to it. And I'm just like, oh, that really warmed my heart. Thank you. That's so cute. But yeah, I think it's just one of those weird ones. Like, if I'm completely honest to you, when it comes to the growth and expansion, I don't know where. And I think because I never had a vision of doing it for the money, it's kind of like I never wanted to focus on that element of it. Like, I just wanted to do this to find girls like me, to actually put this out there. And I feel like only now I'm starting to think about these things, because I feel like when I listen to a lot of other podcasts as well, like I listen to quite a lot of Emma Greed's stuff, and she's like, if you really care about what you're doing, you need to focus on the money, you need to focus on actually building it. And I think that it is true. Like, it's coming to a point now where I'm like, I know I need to kind of elevate, like I need to get bigger, like I need to tune in more. Like, there's only so far that I can go by myself, where you need to get people involved, you need a team, you need an editor, you need all these kind of things. And I feel like, God willingly, I'll be able to get there by the end of the year, if not early next year. But I also think that with everything that is going on, for the first time in my life, I think the biggest lesson out of all of this of growth and expansion, I feel like I'm where God wants me to be at this level in my journey, if that makes sense. And I don't know how to describe it. It's like a really weird feeling that I've got. But I just think that overall, I needed to kind of learn these things. I needed to learn about an editor. I needed stuff to go wrong. Like, so much things have gone wrong behind the scenes of this podcast and growth and expansion, where it's kind of like, I know now what I do want, or how I do want an editing style, or what is working, or that kind of thing. And I feel like you only do that through learning. So some people have been like, oh, you know, did you want to cut this out? Quite a few people message me that, and it really does, like, I find it weird. Like, you know that something's meant to be done or something's not right, and it's like, I appreciate you messaging me, but also at the same time, like, it's a bit weird. But when people do it, it's kind of like, you can only learn. There's only so far my editing skills are getting me, like waking up an hour early, doing it on the weekends, that kind of thing. And I feel like when it comes to the growth and expansion, I would love to sit here and like do a live show one day, or take the podcast, or do a podcast tour, or do all of that. But I feel like at the moment, it is just, I'm really trying to focus on this next step of how can I bring more value to you guys, and what actually is it that you guys want to see, and what is it that do you want. So if you did want to take the chance to, you know, send me a DM, put it in the comments, what is it that you want to see of girls like me? Why is it that you like girls like me? Why is it that you tune in to listen to girls like me? I would really, really appreciate it. And I'm always someone where I love feedback. I personally believe that to get anywhere in life, you need to really want feedback. So whatever feedback you've got for me, girls, or whatever you want to DM, like, I would really, really appreciate it. But overall, Girls Like Me is just getting started in the grand scheme of things. And that's the honest way that I feel about it. Even though we've been going for 2 years, I feel like when I look at my platform, I'm just starting. Like, I've got so much more to give. I've got so much more to build on. I've got so much I want to do with it to really build a brand from it. Because for me, it's not just a podcast. Like, it's a community. It's a reason. Like, I really do want you to feel inspired from it, that you are going to go and do something for yourself in whatever area it is. Like, we've had dancers on here, people that do marketing, agencies, community building, artists. Like, we've had loads of different people, but I really want you guys to get the fact of, like, you need to go after everything so unapologetically and just really build on that. And I think that's what is next for me and Girls Like Me. And I'm just really happy with where we're at, and the second birthday. Right, girls, so I had a poll out on Instagram, basically asking, like, if you guys had any questions about Girls Like Me, that kind of thing. So a few of you did send in questions, so I'm going to answer them. in whatever order, whether you like it, whether you're not, because there was previous guests on there and whatever else. So number one, first question was, have I had a pause to actually take it in and like appreciate where I'm at and appreciate the Girls Like Me journey? The answer is no. But I have got that scheduled in this month. I know, because everything has to be scheduled in my diary. But towards the end of the month, I'm going to take a bit of time out, probably just a weekend where I just want to have a bit of solo time. I was really big on like solo dates and doing stuff for myself and whatever else. And I feel like I've kind of lost that because I've been that busy. But I essentially am planning to like rewatch the first episode that I ever did compared to like now watching this episode once it's out, to just see like the difference in it and just watch all my clips and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think I have been able to have that pause yet, but I definitely think it is something that's needed to do. But then again, I feel like as a person, I am always struggling to kind of live in the moment. That is something that I really struggle with, because sometimes I'm really present, but then I'm not also, because it's like, how do you appreciate where you're at when in the back of your mind, you're just thinking about where you need to go or what you need to do. So do I need to? Yes. Will I? Hopefully. Am I most likely? Maybe for a day, might celebrate. But what you guys don't know, which I've already done, is like when I had my shoot here, I had a little cake, I had a Girls Like Me cake, and when I first started the brand, it was one of my best friends, Calissa. I told her about the podcast and stuff. She was like, yeah, just do it. Like, she's the number one person that will always say to me, just do it, just start it, whatever else. And I'm the same for her and her business. And in her car, in her broke down old Ford car that she used to have, we made the logo in her car, so it was on my mum's front, and we just made Girls Like Me. So this Girls Like Me on Canva is just made on Canva. We sat in her car and was like, this is the font that I want to use and stuff. So it felt right to cut the cake with her. So she came around my house after we did the shoot for Girls Like Me, and we cut the cake and we just had a cup of tea, because we just love a cup of tea and cake. Like, it was just so nice and it just felt so wholesome to do. And then like my little sister that comes, that does like behind the scenes and stuff, like me and her scheduled to have a night where we just cut the cake, had a cup of tea again, because that's what I clearly do with people that I love, cake and tea. And that was nice. Like, it was just nice to have a moment to be like, oh, this is cute. Like 2 years ago, it was in the back of your car doing a logo on Canva, and now we're actually cutting a cake for something. So that was kind of cute. But no, am I going to schedule some time in? Definitely yes. Next question that was asked to me is, who was your favourite guest? And my sister actually sent that question because she was hoping that I was going to say her. And I was actually thinking on the way, like, what was my favourite episode out of everything I've done so far? And it's a bit of a weird one, but I feel like the episode that I did with Lara, like, I just really enjoyed that. I feel like, because although I love my sister and whatever else, it was a very emotional episode, but that episode that I did with Lara, I feel like was one of my favourite, because I felt so accomplished to do something of high rocks. And when this podcast comes out, I've actually signed myself up for a half a marathon at the end of the month. So if you do see this, we are raising money for Natando, who's just been on the podcast, and I'm going to be running half a marathon. I can't run. I tried to run 3K recently and I was seeing stars, I'm not going to lie to you girls. And I've got 4 weeks to train for half a marathon. So will I do it? I've got no choice to do it, but yeah, I'm training for that. But anyway, that episode with Lara, like, she's just such a light in my life. Like, when I see her, I've spent so much time with her this week. I know she's going to think this is so cringe that I'm saying it, but I just love spending time with her. Like, it's just so nice. And I also feel like I prayed for Lara. Like, before I started this journey, I was praying for like a good year, like, God, like, just give me a girl in my life that wants to go to the gym, that wants to just bet herself, that wants to this. And I feel like I tried it with 2 people previously and it just didn't work out. Like, we just didn't gel. But like, me and Lara, like, my mum said to me before I've come here, my whole leg is green, guys. Like, I'm not even joking. My leg is bruised and it's green. And it's because of that girl yesterday, because she just boxed me up at kickboxing. And yeah, it was just my favourite episode. And I loved every single guest that comes on. Like, I love all the girls that have been on. I've got a special place in my heart for them. Even though if we've done it 2 years ago, like, I have kept in contact with every single girl that's been on. They always give me like updates on their journey and stuff like that. And I love it. But for me, that episode was just like a fun, girly episode. Like, we always just laugh. Like, when I see her, we just always laugh. So I think that was one of my favourite episodes, and I felt really accomplished from high rocks. Another question that was asked is, what do you plan on doing to build the brand? So that was a really interesting question, I thought, because I was like, oh, this is quite cool. What I'm planning to do with the brand. So Girls Like Me, I feel like I have it on the cue cards, and that has been all I've been able to afford so far, guys. These cue cards actually cost me, I think it was around £17, and I've got obviously the pink bow, but when I've looked into everything else, I've been back and forth with like Chase and whoever else, like about the thing that goes on the mic. I don't know what you call it, the mic cover, that's the one. The mic cover that goes on there. It's like 45 quid for one. So I was thinking £90. Every month I can't justify it, but for the Girls Like Me second birthday, I'm going to justify it. I'm going to pay for it. We have got the Girls Like Me merch as well. This might be out by the time the podcast is going to be out. We're also working on a few other things, but essentially it's just kind of like very girly, cutesy vibes. Like my dream, if I had the money to do it tomorrow, would probably be like build me a big bright pink set with like all these lights and whatever else, but that's probably for the future. Right now, I think it's just those small little bits that are just kind of building it. But I feel like being Girls Like Me, and also I know I've kind of come in like chill vibes, but I feel like next season I do want to get a bit more dressed up. Like I want it to be like Girls Like Me show, like that's what I would really love. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to go. Another question that was asked to me is, what do I enjoy about doing a podcast? So number one, I feel like I'm just a talker anyway. Like I naturally speak to people. Like I just always talk to people. Like today I was at work, I was on a building site. Next thing you know, I'm having a cup of tea with like all these builders and stuff like that. So I just feel like I'm a naturally warming person. But essentially, to put it very shortly, I believe that podcasts and long form content is like going to really positively impact the world. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, but yeah, I feel like in this day and age, everyone is just scrolling, this. We're so desensitized that people actually really crave human connection, and that is how they feel inspired. So that is essentially the number one reason. Like I want people to tune in for half an hour and actually get something out of it that is free. Because when I was a girl like me, well, I'm still a girl like me, but when I was first starting out, I couldn't afford mentorship. I couldn't afford any business coaching and stuff like that. Like I just literally had books and free podcasts. And that was the point of essentially starting it, that this is free, it's accessible to someone to watch, and you can just get inspired, you know. That's the whole point of it. But yeah, I just love having a little chat. And also I feel like I feel inspiration from that guest, and it really pushes me on. So even though that they're coming on to inspire you and everything and build that community, it really does something for me. And I just love that little light that people get, you know, when they kind of have that spark about what they're doing and they just really enjoy it and they're really going after that dream life. I'm just like, oh, I love this. So yeah, that's my favorite part about doing the podcast. Another question that was asked to me is, why did I call it Girls Like Me? I feel like when I first started, it was me and Calissa again that was speaking about it. And she was like, but what's the podcast about, Lima? Like, is it an entertainment podcast? Is it a niche podcast? Are you going to interview a certain type of person? Like, what is it? And I was like, it's for the girls like me, you know, the girls like this and the girls that do this and the girls like me that. And then I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to call it Girls Like Me. And also, one bit that people forget in my branding, it's called Girls Like Me, and it has the full stop, and it has the full stop purposely because I said what I said and I didn't stutter. So I feel like that's really important to actually get across in the branding. We are not someone that's given this rosy, like, I said what I said, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to feel inspired, and that's it, take it or leave it, done. So yeah, that's why I called it Girls Like Me, for the girls like me, because I just kept on saying it and I was like, this is what it's going to be. Another question that was asked to me is, why, no, it wasn't why, it was how do I get guests? So that was the number one thing, because a lot of people are inquiring, they want to know like the process of getting guests. I think this is from someone that actually has their own podcast. How do I get guests? At the start, I think I was just getting people on that I knew. So it was like my best friend, Calissa was the first guest that I had on actually. Friends, family, people that had a business that I knew of, that I was like, hi, do you want to do a podcast? And at this point in time, girls, I'm not gonna lie, I used to really shit my pants when I was reaching out to a guest. Like, I'd be like, oh, this is so cringe. Like, this part in my stomach is like, oh, I don't know what to do. But But now I just fucking email everyone. Like, I was saying to my friends and family the other day, like, I emailed my jammer and they're like, who do you think you are? And I was like, I don't care. Like, what's the worst that someone can say no? So it's like, guests come to me, they inquire to me, and I've had quite a few people that have really like been excited to come on, that do want to come on, which I feel like is nice, because even though the following is small, people that are bigger, you know, we've had people on that have had like 2 million followers, they're still really gassed to come on. They really enjoy it. They really share it, which I like. But for the person that asked the question, if you have got a podcast as well, I would just say, just reach out to everyone, just email everyone. Like, I don't care if my jammer don't want to come on the podcast recently, she might want to come on in a few years, you know, like, what's the worst that someone can say no, and then just keep it moving. But yeah, email, stalk them on ChatGPT. That's what I do. What's the best way to find them? What's their email address? Go on their Instagram, have a look in their bio. Some people that I've struggled to find last year, they've started communities, people that have like WhatsApp communities and stuff. Just join the WhatsApp community, you instantly get their number, then text them, that kind of thing. But 9 times out of 10, I have got a really good, I don't know what the correct word is, but people don't say no to me. Like, I'll ask them on the first time, they're like, oh my God, yeah. Because a lot of the guys that come on, they wouldn't be generic for like someone's podcast or girly podcast, like millionaire podcast, that kind of thing. I feel like that's what's trending at the minute for women. So a few of them are really gassed to come on because they wouldn't normally go on a podcast. But yeah, just reach out to everyone, essentially. Last question that I'm going to do, because I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. But what has been the favourite part about doing the podcast so far? And I think number one thing is obviously like the impact to inspire and stuff. But I think at the minute where I'm at, I really like having my little sister on the podcast. I think that's really cute, like her come in and stuff like that. She keeps asking me to do an episode, but I think just having that bonding time and just building something that is going to impact them as well. So I feel like my sister's really enjoyed coming on. Obviously, I've had Jamila on the podcast. Now my niece is here. My niece has been born. She wants to come on the podcast too. Well, not Amaya, well, Amaya does want to come on, but yeah, they're all going to come on. But I think it's just being able to show my little sister as well, through coming and traveling to London and stuff, like you can do it and you can reach out to anyone. Because at the start, she's really grateful for where I'm at the moment. I'm just really, really happy. I'm grateful. I feel overwhelmed nearly every fucking day that I need to post content and I need to do this and I need to do that. But when I do it and I get the feedback and I get people comment on it and I get like the guests that are so happy, like recently every single guest that has been on has been so appreciative and messaged me just like with so much gratitude to get their story off, or they've really enjoyed it. I think it's just been so much fun, and I've really enjoyed like building it and building myself, and also watching myself grow as a person. I've just absolutely loved it, and I just feel like I don't know where the podcast is going to go. I don't know where we'll be year 3, year 4, year 5. Hopefully we can go for a number of years. But yeah, I'm just really really grateful to every single person that does tune in. Like, from the bottom of my heart, I really, really appreciate it. I love the feedback, I love the likes, I love the comments, and I just really hope that you go after your dream life and you are a girl like me. But yeah, guys, that's where I'm going to leave the episode for this one. This is Girls Like Me, 2nd birthday. And yeah, I don't really have anything else much to say apart from thank you so much. And I just love you guys. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe. Of course, you guys know, like, you better not have just watched this for 2nd birthday and not subscribed, not liked, not commented. Like, you won't be a girl like me. But yeah, bye guys.